All right.
Seth has bogarted all of this. All of the.
Bogart them. I complimented you, in a way. And hold on.
P3P. I don't know if I said that.
Hello and welcome to the Player 3 Podcast After Party Lounge, where Ben sucks on arms.
Yeah, because my arm is bleeding, so I was trying to suck the blood out
Wait,
of my arm.
what? That's how you respond to bleeding? You
Yeah.
eat it?
I eat it.
You got to put the blood back where it came from.
It's my own nutrients.
It's like,
Oh man, this is
it's
good.
like Goldman for eating his own skin shavings.
Empty Vial says, I think in reality I would probably want to be on The Walking Dead. Something about seeing your likeness getting your face smashed would do it for me.
I mean, that's gotta have its own appeal.
I don't know if I would want to see that. That would be traumatic, I believe.
What?
Seeing your own visage smashed in the trunk of a car.
I would love that.
Well, we can make that happen, Ben.
If
I
had
can't
to,
see it if you do it.
if I had to be on The Walking Dead, I'd want Rick to bite my throat out. That's my favorite.
If I was going to be on The Walking Dead, I would like to be a guy who just pulled into a grocery store parking lot, and they're there, like, raiding it, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, we're taking all this food. I'm like, you guys can't do that. And they're like, why? And what they finally figure out is I don't realize a zombie apocalypse has been happening.
I'm calling the police.
All right.
Because you also just woke out of a coma.
Zyger wants to know, but does Larry hunt zombies?
Regularly.
All right, here we go. Zoofo has a topic for us. If you've got a topic for us, drop it in the chat.
I believe
Diz
it's
is doing his
Zoofo.
PP. Zoofo, sorry. Make sure you hit that follow button.
Zafa.
He says, what's up with the recent trend of remaking everything? Hollywood and even games trying to cash in on our nostalgia. Can I tackle this real quick
Yeah,
first?
jump on top of it, Luke.
Because you pay for it.
Is it worth
Because
it?
people have paid for it. And we talked about this on 3 Topic Thursday a couple weeks ago, but American Ultra, one of the writers went off about how, like, look, you go and you try to make a Hitman movie, or you try to make a sequel to The Avengers, or a sequel to Sinister. Sinister 2 came out that week. You try to you do all this stuff, people are going to back it because people are going to go buy it because, like, all right, people like Sinister 1. It was one of those horror movies that jumped out in front and was a big hit, so Sinister 2 is going to sell as well. But then you have American Ultra that has stars in it. It has a pretty unique premise in it, and people don't go pay and see it because they're like, well, I already know what Sinister is. So they keep doing it because we keep paying for it, and if we're tired of seeing it, stop paying for it.
It's a safe way to make lots of money.
Yep.
And
I think you.
Wait until the red
if you don't have to risk anything, why would you?
I think you used the answer in your question. Nostalgia.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it's all about.
Especially with things like Star Wars, and that's the easy thing. Other things, I don't know. I mean, like, we like to see books into movies because we've already got that story framework. It's not easy. I mean, making a film is probably one of the hardest things you can ever do. Other than birth a child, I know from experience, if you know what I mean.
Do you?
I don't know what you mean.
It's like a kidney stone.
like the seahorse, if you will.
What? Oh, males do that. That's right.
Right, yeah. Science 101.
There are almost no movies that aren't remakes or from a book or whatever.
Oh,
now.
yeah, definitely. Even shows are doing it now, like kind
Grapes
of
of Wrath.
serializations of... What?
I wasn't even paying attention.
It was a book remake.
Until we start voting with our wallets, nothing's changing.
And it's always really refreshing to, like, me when I see a film like, of course, this happened 20 years ago, Donnie Darko or something like that. That's like not... Was Donnie Darko based on a book?
I don't know.
That was just the first example that came to my head, but like on the rare occasion that you see just like, and I think American Ultra was probably one of these, right? One of these things that was not based on anything else.
Right,
It's
yeah,
an
no,
original
it was its
story,
own concept.
straight from
Yeah.
Hollywood for Hollywood.
Zombieland.
Jesse Eisenberg and Kristen Stewart.
Well, that's why I didn't.
In a remake of Adventureland. Did you ever see Adventureland?
Adventureland
I
was
never.
great.
I
It's a
didn't
great
see
movie.
Adventureland, I
If
saw
you-
Zombieland.
If you think Kristen Stewart sucks, you're an idiot.
Weren't they both in Zombieland, or was it just
Advent-
Jesse Eisenberg?
Just Jesse
Just
Eisenberg.
yeah.
And Emma Stone.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Favorite
Zyger
movie, by the way.
Zyger
I
brings
love
up Zyger brings up the Final Fantasy VII remake, and like that was the biggest news. Like I felt like that was the thing that got the most hype at E3 for the PS4.
Well, I mean, some things like there's a difference between oversaturation in one certain thing, and then, of course, we are oversaturated with remakes in general of one form or another. But I mean, some things, there is validity to it. Like, I think it's cool that you can remake a movie, like a hit franchise 30 years later or something like that, or continue on a story when a few of your classic actors are still alive, like in Star Wars. Now, of course, it's dangerous territory because you can try to do something like that, touch up on something, and it just sucks a big one.
But is it dangerous? Because episode 1 and 2 arguably sucked, and they're still gonna. They made 3, and it was good.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Like,
I mean, they
maybe
made.
it's at
Well,
8, 7.
I don't know about good. It was. I mean, it was good. But
I loved. If 3 had been directed and written by anybody else in the world, it would have been one of the greatest stories of the slow slide into the darkness.
This is just a total other tangent. I'm sorry, but
I mean, this is
like
this is after
we're
party
on a
lounge.
different tangent.
We do
We're
what
in the
we
after
want.
party. There are no rules where Buff Bucks continues to drive a thriving global economy.
Even stronger than the real dollar, the American dollar.
Oh yeah,
Setting the bar low.
Seth Martin 2016. But anyway,
Is that you declaring to be one of the 28 people that are running for the Republican ticket?
Caesars, because like Kanye.
Moving
Jesus,
on.
whatever.
Is he running this year?
Anyway.
No.
Kanye's actually running in 2015 for God knows what office. Oh, he can't wait until 2016.
He announced for 2020.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever. But anyway, those 3 films definitely had validity to them. Like, I won't say that they're totally bad.
I don't feel that way either. But common.
But dang, when Darth Vader, stuff hits the fan, and where's Padme? Emperor Palpatine tells him where Padme is, supposedly. No, and the earth shakes or whatever. Like, are you kidding me?
I was very emotionally impacted by that scene.
Are you kidding me?
Triggered.
By the no, like that is the most, I would say the most cliche thing of all time is saying no like that.
Okay, so if he had said anything else, you'd be cool with the scene.
Yes, I would. I mean, I can deal with.
He's like, Snake!
Because Ember says, in your anger, you killed her. Oops!
All right.
Okay.
My bad.
No, it's just like,
Or
okay.
just like let the man fall to his knees and like put his fists in rage and sadness at the same time, and then the earth shakes, almost like he's a Super Saiyan or something.
Just
like
yells,
that.
just
or just anguish, yeah. But just with that between like his respirator voice and all of that stuff. No.
Does he kill a bunch of, blow a bunch of stuff up and stuff when he's doing that?
I mean, he like pops a bunch of the
droids.
IV machines and stuff like that. Droids,
I
yeah.
don't know. If my wife suddenly died, I'm pretty sure no would be one of the first words I yell.
Especially when you realize she had something you really needed in her pocket.
Gosh. Yeah.
What?
She died with it. You can't get it back.
Yeah, it's
Can't
true.
get it back.
It's true. It's that word.
What's up, Busy Moose? The thing about nostalgia is like the only thing, second only to seeing yourself in something, is seeing something that you know in something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like there are tourist attractions that are only attractions because like a famous movie was filmed here.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's nothing of its own merit. It's just a movie was filmed here, and so. Seeing something we know, like that's what nostalgia is. Like in the prequel trilogy of Star Wars, like you've got R2-D2 and you see it and you're like, oh look, it's R2-D2, or look, it's these characters that we love from the original trilogy or whatever. And then it's only cool as long as they don't do as they did with Darth Vader and take a dump all over your nostalgia. Mm-hmm. And so, like, because there's remakes that are well done too, right? Like. Not every remake is bad, but
The remake of The Evil Dead, man, that thing rocked me. I could hardly watch it.
Yeah, I mean, it can be done. I like Mad Brock Khan. Khan is one of the greatest lines of all time. Just, Khan!
What if Vader had yelled that? Yeah.
Well,
Hey,
bring it on.
Can we address Empty Vials silliness up here?
yeah, he says no acting. No, hold on, I'll just start. He says,
Regarding Kristen Stewart.
Wait, if I think Kristen Stewart sucks, okay, I'll take you up on that because I know she sucks. No acting talent in her bone unless it's an emo, cut herself, drugged out role in which she aces it because that's how she acts in every movie. There are tons of actors. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You wanted to address this.
You are on. You go ahead first.
I mean, that's just
I
typecasting
agree.
in
Because there are
general.
tons of actors who make their career on one single role.
Nick Cage.
Looking at you, Rob
We
Schneider.
were just looking at his face on things earlier in the day, and
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, there's validity to that. I mean, that sells. Like, it's kind of that same thing. Like, you're gonna see that this actor, and of course, this is where typecasting comes from, and how it, the reason it exists is because you see a person play this certain kind of role. Jason Statham is the
hitman with a heart of gold. Every movie.
Sometimes a heart of gold. Sometimes he can just be a bad guy, I guess. But he's that dude. And people love it, and that's why he was in every movie that came out between like 2006 and 2010.
I was listening to a podcast last week. I can't remember if it was Art of Manliness or The Order of Man, but they were they were talking about acting. Well, it was Order of Man, and they were talking about how it's kind of changed. And back in the day, like the way Hollywood actors worked was they would create this persona, and then the movies would be built around those personas. So like someone like Cary Grant, like. He was the same dude in every movie, but we won't argue that he's a bad actor. And as far as Kristen Stewart, like in The Messengers, I didn't think she was an emo, cut herself, depressed kind of person.
It's been a long time since I saw that film, so I'm not sure. I mean, I won't say that she sucks in general, but I mean, she doesn't. There's typecasting that's true, and then there's typecasting that's just happens because of the industry, and I don't really know what to make of her. I don't really care much one way or the other.
When she said that she acted like the character that she read off the pages of the Twilight novels, like I'm like, you nailed it. Those books suck.
This is true.
You sucked in those
and,
movies.
and-
Great job.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now there's an interesting question from Zoofo about which dev team should
Yeah, I
put
was going to move on to that.
Kojima in.
So
And you
wanna
have any
add a
thoughts
little
before I
something?
dive in?
Zoofo asked which dev team should take Kojima, and then he suggests Naughty Dog. Go ahead, Seth.
Bethesda.
I don't think Kojima should be in video games anymore. Because how do you, like, we lost Silent Hills, rest in peace, unless it comes back in some other weird form. I would love to see him jump into something like either novels or to be somehow involved in like a film project or in some kind of grand multimedia undertaking that just like a great story told over several different formats at the same time. Just something really interesting and innovative and postmodern, because that's where he excels. That's why Metal Gear is where it is today, is because of his. He's a genius in terms of storytelling.
Yeah.
And like it's in that article I was mentioning earlier about the Phantom Pain and where it takes place in the timeline and how people aren't really pleased with its sense of finality. It was talking about how Metal Gear Solid 2 is like considered one of, if not the first, really postmodern video game, because of its use of metafiction, yada yada yada, and how people are still like, that game came out in the early 2000s, and 15 years later, people were still kind of figuring it out and still picking up things from it that they missed before. You don't see that too often in gaming.
Right. Well, Kojima's a big name, and he's talented and all of that, but I don't think that... Let me preface this. Well, I'm just going to say it. I don't know if it's this hot commodity like everybody is saying, that he takes a ton of time, a ton of money, a ton of resources to make games that honestly just don't sell all that great.
Well, I would agree that he's definitely a diva, but I mean, in terms of like...
He's talented. Like, there's a reason he can be a diva. He's talented.
Oh, exactly.
And the products he makes are good.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, Metal Gear's overall sales numbers for the life of that franchise are not all that impressive.
Oh, I could see why. Because a lot of the time, like back to that movie discussion, greatness doesn't always sell. And that's why I'd like to see him kind of jump into something else and like try. Of course, there's money to be made in that too. If you're selling like a book and a movie and a TV, or like a internet TV show, something like that, they kind of all tell stories from different aspects or different, whatever the idea could be. I mean, a lot of people are going to buy that just because he's involved.
Right. And so I don't know if he necessarily and if he's going to stay in video games, I don't think he necessarily needs to attach himself to a Naughty Dog or to whatever. I think he could go out and do something on his own.
Yeah, absolutely.
And find people who will back him. Like, he doesn't have to be absorbed into. Like, what if he created another PlayStation studio, like a studio that released stuff exclusively on PlayStation? because PlayStation would immediately jump and be like, "We'll publish your stuff." You know, you make your own dev team, we'll publish your stuff. So I don't think he necessarily needs to. Like, Naughty Dog doesn't need Kojima to continue to make awesome games, and they don't need the negative effects that come with him spending a lot of time and money on games where he's taking years and years to put out products.
And wasn't there some talk a while back? It seems like we mentioned it at some point where he was kind of thinking about the idea of making like some more kind of down to earth like indie-esque games.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
It seems like I remember us mentioning it at some point, but I could see him doing something like that, just kind of doing his own thing. It'd be a lot cheaper than making these, something like almost back to the original days of Metal Gear before Metal Gear Solid, when you're playing a Solid Snake, kind of a top-down stealth game. I could see him doing something like that, but kind of like, the way our new-gen consoles are kind of returning to that pixelated format.
I think we're going to see him do anything. We're going to see him totally move away from anything that could be even a semblance of
of Metal Gear for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, he's going to do something totally. He may make a soccer game. Who knows? Be the craziest soccer game ever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's going to make a soccer game.
Thanks, Ben.
You're welcome.
Insight with Ben.
Yeah.
All right, let's get out of here. Let's go eat some food.
All right.
Denter.
Seth's telephone number.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in today over here on twitch.tv/Player3Podcast. If you missed the full episode, you can find it on youtube.com/Player3Podcast.
And I still love you, Empty Vials, even though you don't recognize the brilliance of Kristen Stewart.
That's right. All right, well, to finish it off, Seth's telephone number is 276-732